is unique about you? What is the major characteristic that will make you a better governor than any of the other candidates?
It's my 10 years as chair of Senate Appropriations, which is the only place in state government, other than the governor's office, where your job is to understand all of state government, to make it all fit together, to make it all work, and I think just as importantly is you understand what doesn't work and what you want to change. The job of chair, and particularly in these difficult times, is you have to say no. And not only do I have to say no, but I have to convince a committee to say no to a lot of things that we would really like to do. And then I have to convince a Senate to say no. And that's leadership.
So tell us one thing that you think Vermont, that you've seen that works really well, and one thing that doesn't work and hasn't worked.
I think our captive insurance programs work superbly. They are economic development that we figured out a long time ago, and we always put the resources that they need so that they are continuing to grow. I think one of the things that doesn't work well is how we're doing economic development now.
Well, and to follow that up, you say that you're the only candidate with a proven record of working with the business community to create jobs and encourage economic development. Tell us what that record is.
The record in appropriations is years of putting additional funding into captive insurance companies, the regional economic development folks, the marketing for our tourism industry, our working with the small business centers, our working with our regional planning commissions that I really feel are key to economic development in this state.
So, how would you describe Vermont? As pro-business, anti-business, or somewhere in between?
I think in reality Vermont is somewhere in between. We have, and I'll do my political plug now, if you go to my website, bartlettforgovernor.com, you'll see a whole long paper on innovation and intellectual property. And I believe that we have lots of small businesses that are doing great, and sometimes they're doing great in spite of us. I don't believe that government creates jobs. I believe it's the private sector that creates the jobs. And what we need to change in government is helping with the infrastructure to get the support to help small businesses create those jobs. And I think we can, as a state, do much better at that. I think going around and saying, gee, we're bad for business, gee, we're bad for business is not a particularly good sales pitch. And I think it's time for the leadership into the state to say, you know, we do a lot of things really, really well. We have a really great workforce. We have great workforce training programs, and we're going to figure out how to do all of those things better, and we are absolutely open for business.
If you'd been governor, what's one thing that would have been different about this past legislative session?
In challenges for change, instead of trying to take economic development and take millions of dollars away from it, I am trying to collapse the regions into 9 regions. I would have put more money into economic development, and I would strengthen the regional economic development folks.
Maintaining a healthy agricultural sector of our economy, as well as improving the health of our lake, are important to many of us. How do we control harmful agricultural runoff without putting an additional economic burden on our farmers?
A wonderful example of how we do this is up in Franklin County, and it's the Farmers Watershed Alliance. And they are a group of farmers who actually modeled themselves on a program in Quebec. And they work with the Vermont Extension Service and Heather Darby. If I could clone someone, there's the person in this state I would clone. And they work with farmers to come up with the best practices to deal with agricultural runoff. And what they have found, besides preventing runoff, it also increases yields for the farmers. We have in Senate Approps, and I've done my stint on the Agriculture Committee as well, I have made sure that this organization has the money they need to keep going forward with the really innovative and very, very cost-effective programs that they're putting in place. And one of the things that really works, I don't think it's just for farmers, I think it's for most folks, that if other farmers are doing it and they're doing it well, they mentor other farmers. They really are helping each other. They are getting very, very impressive results, and that's how we do it.
Tax policy plays a key role in business recruitment and retention. What is your philosophy on tax policy, specifically capital gains and corporate taxes, as it relates to economic development?
The committee that we have that's going to come back very intentionally after the election to give us, if you will, a package of here's what a really good whole tax policy would be for this state, I think is a really important step that we took, because we always hear lots of rumors about what happens when you change certain taxes. And a lot of it we really don't know for sure. So these folks are going to come back with a comprehensive study that says here's what happens when you do different things. Here's the kind of tax policy we think makes sense for Vermont. I think the change we made in the capital gains tax is a good change, because I think if we want to grow business, and particularly small, innovative businesses, they need to know that as they grow and they become worth something, that they have the ability to sell and still have money to take forward. A lot of the tax, I think Vermont is always going to want a progressive tax structure, but that doesn't mean that has to be negative to business. So I'm really holding a lot of judgment, Chris, until we see what they come back with, but I have high hopes for it.
Small business, especially in Vermont, small employers are having difficulty weathering the recent downturn in the economy. Doubling the unemployment insurance tax and increasing health care costs are pushing them to the limit, and it has begun to impact job creation and wage growth. What are your plans to help small business?
Well, we know the administration, the business community, and the legislature reached a deal on unemployment, and it's something that we had to address, and we have addressed it. Healthcare is a whole 20 minutes all by itself. As you know, Vermont is trying and working at moving forward to get us to comprehensive healthcare reform. I think the real key parts of that are work that we have been doing for years that gets to controlling the cost of healthcare. I don't know that how much in the short term the federal healthcare bill isn't going to be a lot of help to us. The bill that we passed this year, S88, and a lot of folks are saying it's a study. It's not a study. We're having someone come back with 3 plans to say, here's how you would get to a single payer system, here's the steps, here's what you have to do, here's what it would cost, here's the positive, here's the negative. Here's what you have to do with your current system to align yourself with what Washington is doing, what they are recommending. Here's the cost, here's the positive, here's the negative. And basically what we've said, and now that you know Vermont really well, do you have an idea that you think is, who knows what, that would work for us, that will get us to affordable health care for everyone. I believe that this state, because of all the background work that we're doing, is going to get there within a couple of years. And once we get there, as businesses and your employees have access to affordable health care, we as a state don't have to spend the money on health care that we're spending. We can control the cost of health care. That is going to be a stunning business advantage for everyone in this state.
Who has inspired you in your life and why?
Let's see. Eleanor Roosevelt, just as a woman who was way ahead of her time and didn't take no for an answer, and I kind of like that approach. And Howard Dean. When I was elected, Howard was governor, and I learned a lot about budgeting and about politics from Howard, and about a style and how to work with people with different philosophies and how to get results.
And what brings you joy?
Becoming governor?
That works. What's your favorite candy bar?
Ooh, Baby Ruth.
We'll have to keep track of all of those. And what's your favorite season?
Fall.
Fall. Okay. Thank you.